another question, please?
Sir, about TikTok.
She asked too many questions.
Sir, about TikTok, there was a report that there was about to be a deal, but China changed its mind because of the
I'd
tariffs.
say it was largely true. The report is that we had a deal pretty much with TikTok. Not a deal, but pretty close. And then China changed the deal because of tariffs. If I gave a little cut in tariffs, it'd approve that deal.
The Dow futures, S&P futures, and NASDAQ futures are crashing. The international markets are crashing, triggering, for example, in Japan, the circuit breaker to shut down the markets because the Trump tariffs are crushing international markets. We'll see if it triggers a circuit breaker here in the United States, as our markets appear to be headed into that unprecedented territory, at least in recent history. Donald Trump returning from his vacation in Mar-a-Lago, where he was golfing while on Air Force One heading to DC, he was bragging about his handicap in golf and how he won golf tournaments. And then Donald Trump is asked questions on Air Force One about the market crash. Trump looks at the camera and says, "Yep, you need to take your medicine. The American people need to take it. This is the medicine they deserve. This is the medicine I am giving them. Take your medicine here." Donald Trump says it play this clip
In the world,
Mr. President,
which is what it should be.
Is there a Trump put though? Is there pain in the market at some point you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put? Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I mean, I think it's I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something, and we have such a horrible. We have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen.
Then Donald Trump brags about his golf game. He says he won a great golf tournament at his resort this weekend, and he wants everybody to know what a great golfer he is. Again, he's saying this as he is crashing our markets once again, and as we head into a great recession, potentially a Great Depression self-inflicted care of the Mar-a-Lago massacre. Donald Trump play this clip.
Mr. President, good. Any questions?
How was the golf tournament?
Very good, because I won. It's good to win. You heard I won, right? Did you hear I won? Just to back it up, you were there, I won.
What's your handicap
I like
these
to win
days?
very low. I have a very low handicap. Okay, let's go.
Sir, Chinese foreign...
Back up a little
Sure.
bit.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry said that the market is...
Donald Trump is then asked if he's doing this as part of a negotiation. Do you have a strategy, Donald, for what you're doing? Trump says, "She asks too many questions. I'm not going to answer it." Play this clip.
100%.
On the tariffs, is it a negotiation
Who are you
now? Bloomberg, sir. Is it a negotiation or rules of the road?
Go ahead, another question, please.
Sir, about TikTok.
She asked too many questions.
Sir, about TikTok.
Next, Donald Trump yells and berates a reporter for standing in front of a camera, and he says, "You're standing in front of the camera. Can you please move? Why am I the one telling you this?" And Donald Trump says this in connection with a question about Naive B. Kelly opening up concentration camps in El Salvador to migrants who don't get due process in the United States. Let's play it.
El Salvador's president said on X that he'd been invited to the White House on April 14th for a working visit to discuss Tren de Aragua and MS-13 and other ways we can support each other, the U.S. and El Salvador. I was curious if you could expand more on what some of these other ideas you have for El Salvador.
Well, I think, you're in the way of that camera, by the way. You should at least say that the camera operator should probably say that she's shooting the back of your head, I don't know why she doesn't say it. I have to say it instead. I have great respect for him. I know him. I've known him for a long time. He's a young leader, and he's very tough on crime. Very, very tough on crime. And in their system, their prison system, they spend a tiny fraction of the money that this country spends. So, but he is coming in, I don't know when, but he is coming in sometime over the next couple of weeks.
By the way, you can see behind Donald Trump kind of creepily staring at the cameras right there. It's the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Do you see him right there?
Here, by the way, you can see behind Donald Trump kind of creepily staring at the cameras right there. It's the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Do you see him right there? Scott Bessent previously lived in what he called his pink Barbie palace that he sold for about $22 million in Charleston, South Carolina. He's worth about $500 million. I showed you clips earlier today of Bessent where he said, Americans shouldn't worry about their life savings or their retirement. He says you probably have enough in your bank account already, so there's nothing to worry about. That's how out of touch these demented people are next. Donald Trump is asked about Elon Musk's comments recently, where Musk says that there shouldn't be tariffs between the US and Europe. Donald Trump disagrees. Let's play this clip.
Eventually it's going to straighten out and our country will be solid and strong again.
Elon Musk has said he hopes for zero tariffs between the U.S. and Europe. Is that a place you'd like to also get to?
Well, the problem is that Europe has made a fortune with us. You know, Europe also has had a tremendous surplus with the United States. Europe has treated us, it's a little smaller, but they've treated us very, very badly. China has, but Europe has also. Europe has been very, very bad to us. Europe has taken our leaders for a ride. They don't take our cars. They don't take our food products. They don't take anything. And we take their cars, Mercedes, Volkswagen, BMW. You know, we take their millions of cars. They take no cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. Europe's treated us very badly.
Trump is then asked, are you speaking with business leaders or tech leaders? Trump says, yep, but I can't tell you who it is. They wouldn't want me to tell it to you. Here, play this clip.
Sir, have you talked to any tech leaders over the weekend about the tariffs?
Yeah, I talked to the biggest in the world. I talked to the biggest of them all. Many of them, but I've talked to, I would say 4 or 5 that are considered the biggest. They don't, you know what they said? We don't blame you.
Who did you talk to?
I don't want to say. I'll put it out. I may give it to you.
NVIDIA CEO?
I have to find out if they mind. You know, I don't know if that was a confidential call or not, but we had 5 or 6. I've spoken.
Donald Trump is then asked about Europe. Here's what he says. Let's play.
Take their millions of cars. They take no cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. Europe's treated us very badly. We put a big tariff on Europe. They are coming to the table. They want to talk, but there's no talk unless they pay us a lot of money on a yearly basis. Number one for present, but also for past, because they've taken a lot of our wealth away, and we're not going to allow it to happen.
Here, Donald Trump is asked, what's going to happen to the market? He says, it's actually getting much stronger. Our country is getting much stronger. Things look better. He's saying this as there's a historic crash taking place. Let's play it.
With the tariffs that I've already instituted, they're already in place. Now, what's going to happen with the market, I can't tell you, but I can tell you our country has gotten a lot stronger. And eventually, it'll be a country like no other. It'll be the most dominant country economically in the world,
Mr. President,
which is what it should be.
Is there a Trump put though? Is there a market?
Donald Trump then attacks China. He says we have a $1 trillion trade deficit with China, and he says, I'm willing to deal with them, but we have to deal with this surplus play. This clip.
Trade deficit, when you look at the trade deficit that we have with certain countries, way over $1 billion per country. But with China, it's $1 trillion. And we have to solve our trade deficit with China. We have $1 trillion trade deficit with China. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year we lose with China. And unless we solve that problem, I'm not going to make a deal. Now, I'm willing to deal with China, but they have to solve their surplus. We have a tremendous deficit problem with China. They have a surplus of at least $1 trillion a year. I think it's like $1.1 trillion. And I want that solved. And no other president's taken it on. I had to take it on the last time, and then we had a rigged election. No other president's taken it on.
By the way, Donald Trump triggered a retaliatory tariff in kind by China, and
In a
as
few
the
moments,
Wall Street Journal
the
editorial
Lincoln
board recently
Riley
wrote
Act.
the big
Today
winner
we
of
take
Donald
a
Trump's
very historic
Annihilation
action
Day,
that
which
was
Trump calls
45 years
Liberation
in the
Day,
making.
is China, who's now looked at as the leader in the world. As America isolates itself, America's basically looked at as a more dangerous and weirder version of
first
North
step
Carolina.
toward restoring
No more allies for the
transparency and
United States, a
accountability.
detestable country, thanks to Donald Trump. And it is so unfortunate.
We're
as
going
he
to
cares
rebuild
so
our
deeply
cities
about our
into beacons of
international
hope,
alliances,
safety,
but
and
Trump
beauty
has
better
turned
than
the
they
United
have
States
ever.
into a pariah state based on his despicable threats of annexation and conquest and irrational behavior and trade wars and threats of actual wars, by the way. Here's Donald Trump asked about the TikTok deal, and then Trump admits, well, there was going to be a deal,
In a few
but then
moments,
the tariffs
I'll
happened.
sign a
Play this
historic-
clip.
Go ahead, another question, please.
Sir, about TikTok.
She asked too many questions.
Sir, about TikTok, there was a report that there was about deal, but China changed its mind because of the
I'd say it
tariffs.
was largely true. The report is that we had a deal pretty much with Tic Tac. Not a deal, but pretty close. And then China changed the deal because of tariffs. If I gave a little cut in tariffs, they'd approve that deal in 15 minutes, which shows you the power of tariffs, right?
President, former
On the idea of crashing the markets on purpose, there's been some speculation, partly because of the video that was posted on Truth Social, that there was some sort of deliberate effort on your part to have the market sell off. Can you talk about that?
No, that's not so. But I do want to solve the deficit problem that we have with China, with the European Union and other nations. And they're going to have to do that. And if they want to talk about that, I'm open to talking. But otherwise, why would I want to talk? And as you know, because of the tariffs, we have $7 trillion already committed to be invested in the United States, building auto plants, building chip companies, and all sorts of companies are coming into our country at levels that we've never seen before.